So, today I'll be discussing Asperger's syndrome and relationships and how they both go together and what it's like to be dating somebody who has Asperger's syndrome. And first off, I'd like to say, being somebody born with Asperger's syndrome and dealing with it my whole life, it's not been an easy road. It's been very, very rough for me. And I've seen a lot of things throughout my life, a lot of personal things I've dealt with throughout the years. And it's not easy, finding love, out there, and everybody, doesn't necessarily understand, us people who are a little different than so-called normal people. And the thing with Asperger's also is, you gotta understand, you have to be patient, you have to be understanding, and you have to realize that, not all of us we don't all be at the same levels. All of us have different interests, different topics that we talk about, different things that we learn about or that we're interested in. And yeah, well, for me, I've dated I've had several different girlfriends, and I've dated several different girls, but all who had issues, borderline personality disorder and bipolar. And it's not easy dating somebody else with a mental disability. There are times I wish I could find someone who's normal, someone who doesn't have any mental issues. But by that same perspective, we're taught not to judge a book by its cover, and to judge by character. But it's very hard to differentiate between the person and the disease itself that manifests, And oftentimes find myself questioning where I'm headed and what I'm going to do in the future when I meet somebody, or if I meet somebody. The older I get, the harder it is to find the right kind of person that I'm looking for. And there's many times, you get that feeling where you think you've been in love, you think that person's the one, but really they're not, because they turn out to be a disappointment. And it's never easy, I've been searching for answers for a very long time. But, I think, we're always going to be learning stuff, our whole lives. We're going to be looking. Life itself is a learning process, and you see a lot of things every day. And also, being obsessive compulsive is a big trait amongst us people who have Asperger's. We perseverate on certain topics and certain things that I mentioned earlier. And I've had many obsessions throughout the years, and I've learned to not, speak of certain topics to people because, it might offend or it might upset. But when I was a kid, I had no control of it, and I had a problem looking at people in the eye. It was never easy for me. And being in general amongst people used to really frighten me, but now I'm not really afraid like I used to be. I can go up to a total stranger and just start a conversation with them. Yeah. One of my main points is also, getting through an obsession, is never easy, and I'm still trying to figure out what I can do to better myself, to not obsess on something, not think of something like my focus, for example, is, what I'm talking about in this video, love and relationships. And I obsessed on that for the better part of 15 years that I can go back to. And I was so desperate for it that, anybody who gave me even the slightest bit of attention, I would go after them, and I would seek them, even though it turned out to be a great disappointment and be a big mistake on my part. I still didn't learn my lesson. And my point is, you don't want to be easy about things. You want to question, who you're with, and you want to think, is their affection whole? Is it genuine? Are they really for you? You got to think about that. So otherwise you'll end up just like me, doing stupid stuff, looking for things you shouldn't be looking for, but asking the wrong questions. I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome at 14 years old, and apparently I was born with it. It's not something that I'm proud of, something I want to get rid of eventually, but there'll be no way to get rid of it. I wish I could, but it's just not easy. I'm having a disease that, tears away at you mentally. And people always know that you're different and that you're not the same like them. But then again, they say, there's no such thing as normal in this world, but I don't know. I assumed being normal meant that, getting up 9 to 5 every day for work and having a family is what makes you normal. My age, I should already be married with a family and kids. I'm almost 30 years old. I wonder why. I would have thought 10 years ago by now I would have been somewhere, but it just wasn't meant to be. I can't sit here and keep complaining about it. All I can do is hope for the best. But we don't always get what we want now, do we? So, my point is, just keep fighting the good fight and never give up. And that's all.